All right, so we'll start the video for the folks that are at home. And again, if you kind of go back through this, you definitely want to watch this video. It does give some pretty good, like a basic overview of chemical and physical changes, right? Physical change is a change in matter that does not change what the matter is. There is not a new substance formed. If you look in this picture over here, looks like I have a green, yellow, blue, purple, and pink piece of paper, right? And I balled them up into a ball. Is it still paper? It is. I've not changed it into a new substance. It is still paper, and that is the definition of physical change. I am going to write pretty much exactly this on the anchor chart. You should take time to do that as well. I will pause the video while we do that, and we will come back and continue to take notes about physical changes. Physical changes. Take a look at this piece of paper. Now that's some fancy cutting of paper, right? When I say cutting paper, I just take my scissors and snip, snip, snip the paper, and I'm good to go. That's some fancy cutting of paper. Is it still paper? It is still paper. Even though you've cut it out and changed the shape of it, it's still paper. Physical changes come in many forms. It could be a change in the shape. I can take a basketball, poke a hole in it, and change the shape of the basketball, right? Yeah. Is it still a basketball? Yeah. It is still a basketball. It's a worthless basketball if I poke a hole in it, but it's still a basketball, right? I could take your notebook and rip it in half. Is it still a notebook? Yeah. We've changed it physically. Physically. Can I take, and I'm really bad about this. It's almost like if I don't put the paper clip on the paper immediately, there's something in my brain that says you should bend that. See, good. There's at least one other person that understands what I'm going through in here. Is it still a paper clip after you've bent it? It is. It's still metal. You can get it back into the same shape. It's just pretty tough to do that. One thing that I do need you to be very careful of is that last line on here. Remember when we did our experiment and we dissolved salt into water? It is very tempting to say, oh, you've created a new substance. No, unfortunately in that one, it's still salt, it's still water, and I actually can undo that, right? I can boil the water turns to water vapor, I can catch the vapor and condensate it. I'll see if I can find that video of Dave and Cody doing that, where they make a condensation machine when they're stuck on an island. I'll look for that in a minute. But it's still there, right? And the cool thing is the salt stays in whatever you're boiling it in. So you can actually separate the two. Same thing with sugar water. Be careful with that. That one's really tricky. That one gets me sometimes. Well, wait a minute. How in the world am I going to separate the Kool-Aid and the sugar and the water? That has to be a new substance. Unfortunately, it is not. That is just three things that have, two things dissolved into one liquid. I can separate them. If you boil Kool-Aid, you don't get Kool-Aid condensation. The cloud isn't blue or purple or pink. Please don't do grape. Oh. Yeah, not a fan of grape stuff. That's just me. I know some of y'all might love grape. I don't like grape a whole lot. Not my thing. It just doesn't taste like grape to me. Grapes don't even taste like grape, which is really weird. But again, be careful with the dissolving of things because it's not. It is still a physical change. So I'm going to jot some of this on my anchor chart as well. So again, still sticking with physical change with that. I'll let you quickly take this quiz. If we took a piece of white paper, colored it pink, cut it into 100 pieces, and crumpled those pieces up, would it be a chemical change or a physical change? So, again, it doesn't matter what you've done to that piece of paper. In the back of my head, I'm asking myself, is this still paper? Yes, worthless piece of paper at that point because you've cut it into 1,000,000 pieces and colored it pink and crumpled it up, but it's still paper nonetheless. Physical changes create different states, forms of the same matter. Again, this is the one that students miss the most. Water turning to ice ice melting into water, water turning into water vapor turning into a solid in desublimation, water vapor turning back into a liquid in condensation, or even sublimation where a solid turns into a gas. Every single one of those, it is still water, right? I know this is different than the piece of paper because the piece of paper is the same thing the entire time. Water changing state, however, is a physical change. I would maybe even put a star beside that in your notes so that you don't miss this one. This is the one that has the most misconceptions. When you change a state of matter, solid, liquids, and gas, you are still the same thing. You have not turned into something new. So everybody good with that so far? It's not too hard, is it? I know that most of the time it's easy to change back. That we go back to like maybe a couple days ago. When I break the Hershey bar into 12 pieces, is it easy to put that back together? Not really. I mean, I could melt all the chocolate, go to Hershey in Pennsylvania, pour that melted chocolate into the mold of the Hershey bar and form it back into the Hershey bar. That's a whole lot of work. I could do it, I guess. When you rip a piece of paper in half, it's almost impossible to get that back together, right? I mean, I guess you can use tape, but that's really not what we're talking about here. Water is the easiest one to think about, though. Easy to change back, Fabiana, because ice to water, you just freeze the water to turn it back into ice. Or if you evaporate water, you just catch the water vapor and condense it and turn it back into water again. That's not hard to do that. And it's pretty simple to move back and forth. Yes, sir. All right, we'll watch this together in here once this video is over. If you're at home, watch that. Cindy said that when water changes from a solid to a liquid to a gas, it's a chemical change because a new substance has been formed. Is she correct? It looks like most of us have said that Cindy is not correct. I think most of us chose B. No, she's not correct because it's still water, isn't it? Even at the molecular level, it's still water. Chemical change. A chemical change is a change that causes a new substance to be formed. I'm pretty much going to write this entire thing down in my anchor chart. And I notice a big example of chemical changes over here. When I burn something, Brandon, I can't undo that, can I? I can't take the ashes and make that paper again. I can't take ashes and make the log in the fire again. I wish I could, so I'd have to stop buying wood all the time. It'd be nice to be able to like make it back into a log and burn it again, but it doesn't work that way. We'll watch that in just a second, or maybe we'll watch it tomorrow, one of the two. Chemical change, baking a cake. That's an example of a chemical change. Can I take this beautiful unicorn cake and get the egg, sugar, flour, and everything else that went into that? Can I get that back out? I can't evaporate it and have things left over. It's not like if I put it in the oven, like the egg is there and the flour's there. It doesn't work out that way. Once you've done that, it's formed a new substance. And I think I put cooking things on there, so I'm not going to write down a whole lot from this slide. But when you bake a cake, it's something different at that point. You can't go back and change those original things. This is different than dissolving sugar in water. Now, since I've baked a cake, I have a new substance that has formed. Bonds have been made with the molecules. The following things can indicate a chemical change. It doesn't necessarily always have to be true, but it can. A change of color. For example, if I get a penny and I cause it to rust, and it gets that bluish green stuff on it. Have you seen that before? That's not really rusting, but changing the color of the penny, right? But rust on a car. Have you ever seen rust on the bottom of a car? Somebody from up north that doesn't wash the undercarriage of their car off when they have a lot of snow, and then they drive down here and the bottom of it's like all red and rusty. That's a good change of color one that you might see. Again, we can color on a piece of paper and it's still paper. When fireworks explode, is there a change of color? Yeah, you have like this brown or black ball that you put into a tube and light on fire, and when it hits the sky, it doesn't stay that anymore. There's like this burst of color that comes out. There's also a light that's produced. That's another example. If something produces a light, then there's a chemical change going on. When I light a match, is there a light produced? Yes. Burning a candle, is there a light produced? If you have a light being produced, then sometimes it can be a chemical change. If there's a change in odor, can you smell it when fireworks have been going off? Yes. When Mr. Bullens came into the classroom after an entire summer, looked in the cubby and realized someone had left their milk in there. And the milk carton was about as swollen as you can get and was about to explode. And Mr. Bullens was very stupid and he opened it and smelled it because somebody dared him to. Do you think it smelled like milk normally does? No, it smelled foul. I thought I was going to die. It was awful. The milk spoiling is a chemical change that's going on. If there's a change in temperature, whether you're producing heat or you are losing a bunch of heat, exothermic and endothermic reactions. If there's a release of gas, remember the other day when we did the open and closed system experiment? And I dropped those tablets in the water and there was a gas being produced? Can I go back and get that tablet back? I can't. Because there's a gas being produced, and the gas part that was in that tablet is now gone because it reacted when it touched the water. So we're going to jot some of these down on the board. All right, last thing. And I know someone said when I cracked that egg earlier, they even said when you fry it. This one's very weird. When you fry an egg, or when you boil an egg, I know that you want to say in your head, well, Mr. Bullens, it's still egg, right? But it's a little bit different. If you look at it, the proteins have been permanently changed. You can't undo that. You can't turn that boiled egg back into that nasty stuff that's inside of an egg when you crack it open. And when you fry an egg, you can't undo that and turn it back into the egg that it once was. It's actually changed. It's still egg. I understand what you're saying. But just understand, if you see something about boiling eggs and frying eggs, it's a chemical change. And I'm going to stop there. So if I'm not mistaken, this last thing is something that we don't need to do a quiz right now. We'll do that tomorrow. Sound good? The rest of the time, you are working on your project. Even if you put stuff on the wrong panel, and when you fold it up, it covers it up, that just means you won't be able to fold yours into a pyramid. It happens every year. Every class, don't stress it. There's like 3 or 4 people in every class. I'm not stressed about that. I'm going to pause. Hayden said be sure to like and subscribe. And click the bell for notifications. And leave a big thumbs. Is there anything else you'd like to say in the last 2 minutes?
Give us a comment.
Drop a comment.
Share it to 5 friends.
All right, so we need to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment down below,
And subscribe to my channel.
and share with your friends. Yes, that goes out to all 200 of my subscribers. 170 of which aren't even in school with me anymore. All right, peace out.